Right, okay, welcome everybody to today's session on Instagram. So I'm going to leave everybody on to control your own microphone. So if you hear any feedback kind of happening, probably mute yourself. But if not, happy for that to be left on or turned off. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so this is essentially what we're going to go through today. If you've been on my other sessions, then you'll know this kind of first part, and I put it into each session, A, in case there are new people that are on the program, and B, I just think it's always worth reiterating how to, again, integrating social media into your business, and from an Instagram point of view, which elements of these kind of next few things does Instagram give you access to? So first up, brand awareness, definitely a big kind of positive for Instagram. And part of the reason for that is because it gives you the opportunity to amplify your content. So we'll talk about things like hashtags and a few other bits and pieces a little bit later on. But essentially, because it's such an open platform, similar to Twitter, which we looked at, I think it was last week, it actually feels like about 8 weeks ago, but anyway. So Instagram certainly gives you kind of that opportunity to increase the awareness of your business to people that potentially don't know you. Customer service point of view, not quite the same as something like Facebook or Twitter. However, I would always encourage people who are on the platform to send direct messages through if they've got any questions. Getting people to send you direct messages just means that you have the opportunity then to go back to those direct message conversations and chat to them further down the line. So what I like about the private messaging, so this is Instagram direct messenger, this is Facebook Messenger, this is WhatsApp, all of those things, they're kind of GDPR proof in that if people get in touch with you, you don't have to do anything, you can always get back in touch with them. So the more you can encourage people to do that, the more opportunities you have of reopening a conversation at some point. And if you look at the business suite in Facebook at the moment, and you've got your Instagram and Facebook accounts kind of tied together, you'll see that Instagram direct messaging is pulling through into the business suite. So Facebook know that people want kind of one place to be able to manage things like direct messaging. So they pull both Facebook messages in and the Instagram ones in. We have seen screenshots in the wild of WhatsApp showing up in there as well, but at the moment that doesn't appear to be rolling out to everybody. I mean, it could do because some of the accounts we look at don't have WhatsApp, so it could be that if you've got WhatsApp, you may see those coming through at some point. Reputation management, not really for Instagram. So social media, absolutely. You saw, again, probably Twitter being the main one for this. But from an Instagram point of view, I don't think, I always remember kind of when we try and explain like what each platform is and how each platform is different. What I like about Instagram is it's kind of a happy place is probably my best description. You kind of never go to Instagram and find kind of negativity going on. So therefore, from a reputation management point of view, you don't get people just going on and whinging and complaining. So it's not like Twitter, and it's certainly not like kind of Facebook. So whilst we would want to interact with people, so if somebody comes on a post and said, oh, I ordered one of those, it was lovely, then you would want to reply to that. But beyond that, I don't think it's really a key social media platform for that. From a sales point of view, absolutely. There are, and again, I would say this is more from a business to consumer point of view. So if you're business to business, I think you will find that it's a harder platform to gain sales from. But what you might do is use it as a way to try and drive traffic to some of your other social media channels, etc. as well. But certainly from a sales point of view, we do see, especially things like e-commerce websites, driving quite a lot of sales from Instagram. However, the downside to Instagram is there's only ever one clickable link that goes to wherever you want people to go through to. So if that's your website, and that's in your biography. So the downside, unless you've got 10,000 followers, in which case you're fine. But generally, most of us are going to have to rely on the biography link to our website. So we'll come back to that when we get to the actual platform. Building loyalty and advocacy, again, probably not really a platform that gives you the facilities to be able to do that. Yes, you probably want your customers to follow your Instagram account if they're on Instagram, but it's not the same as Facebook, it's not the same as Twitter, it's not the same as LinkedIn. So it doesn't have the facilities really to then kind of create things like a Facebook group that you would do for your kind of VIP customers, etc. And then working for collaboration, absolutely. So I do think one of the things Instagram gives you the opportunity to do is to build a network of other Instagram accounts who are willing to kind of shout out each other and interact and just generally kind of raise awareness. So for me, Instagram, very much brand awareness, very much collaboration, a little bit of customer service, and then the others, and then some sales, and then the other two, maybe not so much. And again, I always refer to this, but I think the key here for Instagram is that in the awareness and the interest stage. I think you're trying to drive that, you're trying to get more people aware about your business and what you do, with a view to then trying to get them to go off to your website, etc. So this is an Instagram profile. Has everybody got Instagram profiles? Just out of interest, yeah. So lots of nods and thumbs up. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. So just going to expand everybody on that page so I can see what's going on. So this is your profile. So there's a few things about your profile that you might have a think about and look at differently. So the first is you have an Instagram username. So that is your @ and then whatever your username is. So in this instance, it would be @Lincoln Castle. And then you have an account name, and they've just called it Lincoln Castle. So that's kind of a missed opportunity, because if you've already got the username and somebody did a search on Instagram, they will find you from that username. So don't repeat the account name unless you've not been able to get the username, because what they could have done is they could have just expanded on that. They could have even said like visit Lincoln Castle, or they could have used it as a call to action rather than just put the account name in. So have a think about that one. I've seen it whereby let's say for somebody like Elaine, where you've got kind of coaching and cake, that could be the name of that could be the account name at that point rather than the physical business name. Then you've got the approach of you can see that they've essentially gone kind of they've put 4 lines in. So they've gone with discover 1,000 years of history. They've gone with kind of the description of winner of the large visitor attraction, and that's kind of gone across 2 lines. They've then used the hashtag love Lincoln Castle, and then they've gone with the URL at that point. So again, a few missed opportunities here. You're on Instagram. If you look at some of the really good biographies on Instagram, they use things like emojis. So don't miss the opportunity to use emojis within your biography. It might feel as if it's weird to do as a business, but ultimately you are on this platform, you're kind of playing in this playground. So in theory, they could have had a castle emoji, they could have had a cup for winner of large attraction, and then they could have had a pin kind of emoji to say kind of love Lincoln Castle, or a heart or whatever. But what it does is it then draws your attention in. It looks, the minute you see words, especially on Instagram, in something like a biography, you're kind of already bored. And therefore, if all you're doing is using words, I see people do like 2 lines of a description line, and you just miss the opportunity to just kind of take up what I would class as more real estate in that biography. So I'm gonna break everything now because I'm gonna have to go off to link to Instagram just to show you a quick example. So oops, let's go to that one. So this isn't perfect, by the way, but this is slightly better. So just to check, can everybody see my screen? And I'm looking at link showground. Yeah, cool. Okay, so we've got an event venue with a difference, with a tree. We've got kind of the map pin, so that's where they're based. We've got a call to action, so tag hashtag link showground to be featured. So that is encouraging what we call user-generated content. And then I do like this. They've got the downward pointing emoji saying find out more. So you could use a pointy finger, you could use a downward arrow. But the critical point here is you are giving people a call to action that go through to your biography. If all you do is supply a website link with no call to action, people just won't do the thing that you want them to do. So I like this. It's not. I'd say it's not perfect. If I went through to, let's just do a search for. Let's try something like entrepreneurship because I'm sure there'll be about a gazillion. Let's have a look. Okay, it's rubbish. I'll tell you what, let me think, what was it called? Go on then. Sorry, I thought my internet had gone. Okay, so this is kind of a different example, but you've got kind of almost like a bullet pointed list, but you've got it in emoji format. You've got kind of what the account's going to be, so a curated list of the best in tech and innovation. You've got world-changing trends to watch. You've got the fact that they're going to do a weekly prize, and you've got a call to action saying open to submissions, direct messages. So instead of going to a website, trying to get people to kind of get in touch with them on there. So going back to our presentation, which is that page. Nope, that page. There we go. Okay, so that's kind of the biography side. The public profile picture, or the social media icon, or whatever you want to call it, you can see that again, it's one of those where you could just about recognize it at this size, but you're probably not going to be able to recognize it once it's on a phone and showing up in a news feed. So it's just one of those. Be careful with your social media icons. I've said that each week we've done this. It's got to be recognizable on a small mobile device inside a circle. So if it was me and I was Lincoln Castle, I'd have probably gone with that door sort of bit, the icon that they've changed into an A, rather than Lincoln Castle itself. Albeit it's kind of it's a dark colour, so maybe that would kind of stand out a bit in a feed. Next thing we've got is archive stories. We'll come on to stories a little bit later on, but you absolutely do want to have archive stories on your profile. You want to give people the opportunity to be able to kind of have a look at I suppose your best moments, because that's what you're trying to create with stories. And then we get to the account posts. So essentially everything then, as I scroll down this page, will be each of the individual posts from this particular profile. Now, the profile itself, so the profile has got to do two things. Number one, it's got to convince somebody who lands on the profile that they want to follow this account. So what we're trying to do with Instagram is we're trying to raise awareness of our business. So if this only really speaks to our customers in that they're only going to follow you because they already know you, then it's not really doing the job that you want it to do. You're trying to amplify your business. You're trying to get more people aware that it exists. So we've got to make sure, again, it makes that best first impression that it can. If it makes a good first impression, people will click on the follow button. If it doesn't, people are very unlikely to ever come back to the Instagram profile again. So a couple of things around that. Let me just go back to the live version. So a couple of things around that. So if I go to the Lincolnshire Showground, so I quite like their social media icon. I think that that's quite useful. As I mentioned, I think the biography is okay. I think it's pretty good. They've got links to Showground as the username. So they've then repeated Lincolnshire Showground in full as the account name. No problem with that because they haven't been able to get Lincolnshire Showground as the account name. Then they've got these the stories. Whether these stories are good or not, we'll come back to in a while. And then as a user on Instagram, the first thing that I'm going to do before I click on follow is I'm just going to have a quick check to see what kind of posts am I likely to see showing up in my news feed. And the problem that you've got here is there's no consistency to the type of content that I'm going to get coming through. We've got things from somebody on a horse to a few kind of that looks like it's curated in some way, maybe from government. Something that doesn't even fit inside the actual post itself. Another one where half of the image is off the post. So there's just no consistency. And the minute there's no consistency, there's nothing to subscribe to. So as a user on Instagram, you subscribe to an account because you like the look of the content they're going to produce. So the more consistent you are with the style of content that you go with, the more chance you've got of people following your account. So we were talking earlier about the virtual assistants and what would I do in that circumstance. And I would, personally, I would have more of a themed account than a business account. And I would just go around looking at quotes and other things and other bits and pieces. Why would you do that? Because it is something that people like to see on these particular channels. Again, if I go in for, let's just try, let's go for that one, just as a random one. So if I scroll down, I can see this time, it's not perfect, but it is, it kind of has a style to it that I'm more likely. Everything fits in the square, so I know that was just about on the edge. But the rest of it, if I see this, some people will like this, some people will hate this. That's fine. We've all got those opinions. But it's given me something that says, if you subscribe to this particular channel, this is the kind of content you're going to see coming through. And some people will like that, and therefore that's what they will go with. If we went for something like motivation, so let's go for this one. I think I've looked at this one before on a different one. So again, similar, you can see this is a similar feel, so I don't want that one. Let's try again, motivation. Let's try that one. Okay, so another quote one. I'm trying to find, right, let's go for fitness, that'll be easier. Let's try that one. A bit random again. So again, you see it's just a random kind of jumble of everything. And although there's a little bit of styling going on here, it doesn't quite fit in the preview pane. So again, not my cup of tea, I'm afraid, on that one. See if I can find anybody else that does it half decently. Don't want local ones. Let's try that one. Okay, so slightly-ish better. So you've kind of got obviously different. A lot of these are videos, so you can see the little video icon on there. Then you've got things like a few food things. So if you are into the fitness side of things, you're probably interested in the type of exercise this person is doing and the kind of diet this person is on. So at least there's a level of kind of, if I subscribe to this, I've got a better idea of what the type of post is going to be that shows up then in my profile. Okay, so let me just bring. Yeah, fire away.
I see some really nice Instagram accounts where they've got, it's like a jigsaw puzzle, you know, they've got like 6 squares and they all kind of match up. Is there like a particular app that you can do that? Do you know what? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do, absolutely. So I'm just trying to think if there's any that allow you to build. So what they're doing with something like that is essentially they've got to post them in a specific order for it to work. So so I have seen accounts whereby I've seen some accounts whereby there's like a certain type of image on the left hand side, a certain type of quote in the middle, and a certain type of image on the right hand side, and then they keep that consistency throughout the entire account. Again, that kind of just makes it feel like a more, to me, it feels like a more professional account when I see something like that. But that then means that they've essentially got to post in order each time to keep that. So they'll essentially post in threes. They'll do kind of 3, so they'll go kind of the nice image, the quote, the nice image, and that'll be kind of day 1, and then they'll do that each time. In terms of the grid layout, I'm just trying to think if there's any tools that I know of that allow you to do that. There's, I can't think of any off the top of my head where I've seen it done. I'm wondering whether things like Canva have that kind of layout or whether you just have to kind of plan it out. There are a couple of Instagram kind of or almost like Instagram only creation tools. I think it's one called Crello, and I can't remember what the other one is. When we do we've got a session coming up where we talk about other social networks and tools, and we'll cover some of those tools off there. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but there's a few Instagram tools, one particularly for like Instagram stories, which we're going to come on to as well. So I certainly think it's worthwhile. I do like those kind of things because I think that it just creates a nice visual. The only issue is that if you do something like that, you're kind of committing to doing that style all the way through, because even if you add one extra kind of post in, it will completely unravel all of the other ones, because essentially everything gets pushed down by one. So they would essentially have to keep uploading in either blocks of 6 or blocks of 9 for it to try and keep that consistency. So it's a lot of planning and a lot of work, and if you get one bit wrong, you kind of ruin the whole thing. So but what I like about it is, again, like you say, you notice it because it stands out, and that's ultimately what this is all about. If I come to your profile and you don't stand out, there is nothing for me to follow at that point. And as businesses, we will only then ever get people that know us rather than new people, which is kind of really half the battle on Instagram at that point. In terms of, so hopefully, Elaine, that kind of answered, answered your question. As I say, I didn't know the actual thing. I'm sure there will be something out there that does that. In terms of your newsfeed then, so again, this is always a bit awkward with Instagram because Instagram is 99% on a mobile device. So whilst I can access it on a desktop, it isn't the same experience as it would be on a mobile. So just bear that in mind when we're looking through this one. So when we go into our newsfeed, we've essentially just got every post stacked on top of the next post. We have an algorithm that decides what we get to see and what we don't get to see. So it's a similar principle to Instagram, to Facebook, in that each individual one of us that use Instagram will have a slightly different algorithm tailored to us, and that will be based on things like what do we interact with, what do we comment on, etc. For your posts to do well on Instagram, you need the likes, you need the comments, you need the interactions. So when you do post, try and create something that is going to create meaningful comments. So certainly don't be shy about asking people to kind of leave their comments as part of that particular post. Now, right at the top of the feed, we've got stories from the people that I'm following. So again, we'll come back to stories, as I mentioned, towards the end, but stories are critical to visibility. If you don't do Instagram stories, A, you're missing out on a monstrous opportunity to reach more people, but B, there's a possibility at some point where Instagram becomes more about stories and much less about the individual posts. And part of the reason for that is because a huge number of people now are just going into the stories, and they literally just go through back-to-back stories. So they're not even going through the news feed, they're just going through the stories. Why would they go to the story versus the news feed? Because more often than not, the story, if it's done well, the story can be really interesting and engaging, whereas the news feed image is often just an image or just a video. So don't stop doing the newsfeed stuff, but absolutely, as a business, you've got to figure out, how do we embrace stories, and then how do we story tell the things that we're doing in an interesting manner. My newsfeed will be filled from posts from the people that I'm following, and when I see those posts, I can like, I can comment, I can share via direct message. So I can't reshare this in Instagram. There's no kind of reshare function, but I could share it to a direct message. So I could send it through to somebody to say, oh, this is really good. And that will be one of the signals that Instagram is looking out for. Are people actively sharing this? Because that's a good signal for Instagram to see that somebody's decided to take the time to share this privately with one of their friends or colleagues or whatever it's going to be. When you see a post that's got loads of dots at the bottom, that means that it's essentially a carousel style post. So that means you can swipe through. And right now, carousel posts are the most popular type of post on Instagram. So stories are the most popular kind of, just because it's a different thing. But in terms of the style of post you can do, so this is video posts or single image posts, then the carousel type of posts seem to perform better at the moment, whether that's just a glitch or whether that's Instagram thinking it gets people to upload more photos into one particular image, I don't know, but that seems to be the case. In the top right hand corner, we've got our notifications tab. So the reason I've kind of pointed this one out, that little heart symbol is your notification. This is telling you that something has happened that relates to your account that you might want to have a look at. So that could be somebody new is following you, but it could be, and this is the bit that we want to kind of do as businesses, it could be that somebody has tagged you into a post. And when we talk about tagging on Instagram, sometimes people refer to this as a shout out. So a shout out means that I can post something on Instagram, tag your business name in, that gives your business a shout out to people that see my post, and maybe some of those people click on your name and go and check out your Instagram account at that point. And shout outs are a great way to grow accounts, especially collaboratively, because if you're all in Cumbria, you can start to kind of form almost like supporting networks of just Cumbria businesses. So you start to tag in other Cumbria businesses when you post, they get to see that, they comment, they like, that boosts your post, then they will give you a shout out at some point as well. And shout outs get to a point whereby, let me just go to, one of the reasons shout outs are popular is because you can buy shout outs from big accounts. So one of the reasons why you see so many themed accounts on Instagram, where the themed account has a consistent level of content going out, they end up with tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of followers. And the reason that they do that is because they then know somebody who wants to reach the audience they're likely attracting will be willing to pay for a shout out. And so just to give you an idea of what goes on behind something like this. Oh, just tick the box, man. Just to give you an idea of what this kind of might look like, then why are you giving me a tour? I don't want a tour. I want to find somebody. There we go. So if I was into fitness, God, this is so slow. If I was into fitness, then I could just type in fitness, hit the. If I'm I suppose a gym or whatever it wants to be. So I can have a look down and I can see. So this is not just Instagram. We've got Instagram stories. We've got Twitter. We've got YouTube. We've got Facebook. We've got TikTok. So I'm going to tick Instagram because that's what we're looking at the moment, and hopefully that should refresh. There we go. So this particular account, I can't see it because I've got to pay to see it. So you can see it says upgrade to use. But we've got an account with 581,000 followers. It's going to cost me $39 for them to do a shout out on their account, and possibly I might be able to get them to do a bio link. So this is where you see accounts that essentially put out a post that kind of doesn't really fit with the rest of their content. Normally, they will then change their bio link from one website to your website, and then you are hoping to drive lots of traffic through from those kind of accounts. And the reason I'm showing you this is because I think there's an awful lot of people don't realize that exists and don't realize that actually this is how some accounts grow so quickly, is that they will pay what you are classing as influencers to do these shout outs, and often you'll end up with 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 brand new followers. Now, whether they're in the right country, whether they're the right type of followers that you want, some people don't care. They just want to get their account with a high number of followers at that point. Instagram search, so you saw me do a search earlier on, but essentially when we search on Instagram, there's a few different types of results come back. So the first one is the hashtag result. So we're going to talk about hashtags in a second. The second is accounts that match the actual thing that you've searched for. So Lincolnshire Life magazine has got Lincolnshire in the account name and the username. Lincolnshire Hot Tub Hire, similar. However, Links Live, their username is Links Live, but their account name is Lincolnshire Live, and therefore it's triggered the Lincolnshire part of that. Taste Links is also Taste Lincolnshire in the account name. So this goes back to if you've got the right name for your business in your username, it gives you the freedom to play about with your account name, so that if somebody did a search for the thing that you do, you would show up in that particular search result. However, if your business name couldn't fit into the app side of things, you absolutely want to make sure your business name is the account name, because if somebody comes and does a search for you, they're going to struggle to find you if you've not put that those details in one of those two places. So either your username or your account name. So those are, as I said, those are two different things. The final type of result we get is the Geo Location Tagging. So clearly it depends on the type of this depends on the type of search that you do. But if I go back to Instagram and we do a search for Cumbria, so hopefully we should get a location search somewhere. There must be a location. Oh, there we go. Say, okay, so we go to the location search. So what this is now doing, this is essentially turning around and saying these people have geo tagged their Instagram posts with Cumbria, and as we scroll down, we can see different types of posts. The first, so this is either a grid of 9 or a grid of 12. So these are the most popular posts that have been put onto Instagram where the geolocation tagging is Cumbria. And then as I scroll down, I get the most recent results. So if I click into, try click into that one. So if I click into that one, that was posted an hour ago. So that person has geo tagged their post for that to show up into there. If I go into let's go into this top one up here, then in terms of why is this the top one versus some of the others that we saw, and it's down to this engagement down here. So we can see lots of comments going on. We can see if I go down to the likes and I have a look at who liked this post, I can see lots and lots of engagement. So essentially, Instagram is saying to you, whilst you're searching, these are the most popular types of posts for this particular location. So it's got weirdly nothing to do with how beautiful Cumbria is or anything like that. This is purely to do with this individual person's account. So there's no rhyme or reason other than engagement. So flip this around. If this was your business post and you'd created lots of engagement and somebody did this search, you're suddenly in this top grid, and that's a huge opportunity from an awareness point of view. So they're not, and you'll never get consistency in these kind of posts because these are completely random. They're from lots and lots of different types of businesses. But as you scroll down, you can see that it just keeps refreshing at that point. So with that in mind, if we were trying to attract people who are likely to be based in Cumbria to our business, then we might not do, it might not be the worst thing in the world to click on some of these accounts, go and have a look at who Amber Stockdale is, and you can see again, so she's only got 855 followers. So there's an element where you could follow this account if you wanted to. Maybe she would follow you back as a local business, maybe she wouldn't. But what I like about the posts is, again, even though it's like a personal account, the style of post is consistent. So I'm going back to, if you landed on this account and you liked the style of post that she did, you would scroll down, and actually the type of post you are going to get coming through has a very, it's very consistent, especially towards the top at that point. So that person would be more likely to say, yes, that's the kind of image that I like to see coming through. I'm going to follow that particular person. Whether you like it or I like it doesn't make a difference. It's about the people that decide they want to follow that individual account. Let me just go back to the second one along, because it was a bit of a weird one. Okay, so this is Savage Interiors at number 5. So if I click on that, 3,000 followers, based in Cumbria, and as I scroll down, there's kind of less of a consistency to the style. There's cats, there's them, there's inside of cars, there's outside of buildings. So that's one of those where they could get just more. They could still do the same type of post, but they could just do things in a more consistent way. However, they've grown to a decent number of followers. They have used emojis in their biography. However, they've gone with the 2-line one rather than they could have expanded that and taken up a little bit more real estate. And then the icons, almost pointless. Apologies if they're on here today, but the thing is almost pointless because I can't read it. Can't read I can see it says Sav, and I'm assuming it's an itch because of this over here. Interiors at number 5. So again, it was me. I'd do something different with that icon. Now, when you go through to an account, if they've got this circle, if they've got this Instagram colored circle, it means that they have a story that's active. So if I click into that, I should see their story. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 posts to this story. The story started 21 hours ago because the first one said 21 hours. Then they've added to that post with 17 hours. Crikey, this is slow. Then let's have a see what happens next. Then we've got things like an animated GIF down there, and then it's going through. Let me click through, and then a final one coming up there. So maybe because there was a giveaway within all of that, maybe part of the reason they've got 3,000 followers is maybe they do some giveaways on a regular basis. Giveaways are very popular. Some people like doing them. I don't mind giveaways provided the prize that you're giving away is relevant to your business. So if you just go and give away £50 worth of Amazon vouchers, you'll end up with a gazillion followers that don't care about what you do. They just want the £5 Amazon gift voucher. So if you ever do giveaways, please try and tailor it to something that gives you value as well, rather than just giving away kind of hard cash, because otherwise you'll just end up with a bunch of followers that really genuinely are not bothered about your business. They're almost professional. They're almost kind of professional competition entry people. So a couple of other things. If you come across an account like this that you think actually this would be good if they could follow me, then obviously you can go hit the follow button. A couple of other things that I would do beyond that, I would certainly go and leave a comment. So I would like and leave a comment to try and get on their radar. Bear in mind, if I like and leave a comment, when they log in, they're going to have a notification at the top. They're going to see your business name. They might click through to your business name to have a look at your account to see what kind of Instagram account it is, and maybe they follow you back. And in this particular one, they're following 1,622 people. So it kind of feels like there's a chance that they might follow your account back. And therefore, that's where again, going back to this collaboration side of things, if you're an interior designer that's sat on here today and you're thinking, how would I grow my business? These are the kind of things that you would look out for. And then the other angle of growing the account, I would go into other interior designers' posts, and I would scroll down and I would look at all of the different accounts that are interacting with this particular one. And I would pick and choose. You can see even from a comment, people can follow your page. Your last 3 most recent posts will be the things that pop up at that point. So you can see how easy it is for people to make a decision whether they should follow your account at that point or not. So again, this is why you've got to, if that's random, if it doesn't look, if you think that we're looking at interior design, pretty much everything we've looked at so far, apart from that one, has been interior design. That one's a bit of a more of a weird one. That's probably just an individual account. So that kind of first impression there that you make with your 3 posts is also going to convince people whether they do that. So you could then go through, follow some of those accounts, and chances are some of those people may then follow your account back. If they've got fairly close following and followers, you've got more of a chance. If you go to one where they've got, so that one looks like they always follow back, would be my guess. That one, possibilities as well. So that's how I would kind of start to grow my business account on Instagram, especially going after either the local level, local business level, or people or accounts that are trying to reach the same account as me, but we're not in direct competition with that. So if I'm an interior designer, I'm probably not going to follow another interior designer. I don't know what the collaboration's like. So I will look for accounts that are trying to target the same audience of me, but aren't interior designers at that point. Anybody got any questions they want to ask before I carry on?
Yes, good morning, Liam. Do they get to see that you've been looking at their account?
No. So
Okay.
there's no visibility in terms of looking. It's only if you interact with their posts, as in liking, commenting, or following at that point.
All right. Thank you.
No worries. Anybody else got a question before I move on?
I've got one that's come through on the chat, Liam, that just said, can you add more than one geolocation if your business has sites in other areas?
I don't think so. I think you only get to do one at a time. But what you could do is you could tag, each time you do a post, I'd almost have a rota system. So I'd have something where I tagged different locations for each individual post and just do it that way around. Where's my chat then? I can't actually see my chat. Is it open?
I think it came through to me privately.
Oh, did it? Okay, fair enough. Okay. Okay, so where at what time are we doing? Blimey, right, okay. So in terms of Instagram search, when we do the search, I've kind of gone through this, but I just want to kind of clarify. So we've got the top posts are always at the top of each individual search. Then you've got the most recent on the right-hand side. Location searches are the easiest way to find local people because it's only going to be either local people or local businesses that use the geotag in the first place. So that's always a great place to start. And then you can start kind of going in and deciding who you want to follow. And it is one of those where, a little bit like Twitter, I think if you follow 100 people, you're likely to get maybe 40 to 50 people follow you back. So you want to avoid having a ratio where you're following a substantial more number of Instagram users than are following you. And so I would actively follow accounts, and if I don't get followed back, I don't expect them to follow you straight back just because you followed them. You're going to have to interact with those accounts. If you really want them to follow you, then make sure you're liking and commenting on posts and make sure the comments are relevant and good. But after maybe 2 or 3 weeks, if I've done that and they don't follow me back, I'll probably go and unfollow that account at that point, because I can't afford for my ratios to be to look spammy. And I think if you see people that are following 10,000 people that have got 2,000 followers, then it always comes across as if it's a bit weird. So always be mindful of that. Okay, so the final section is these Instagram stories. So you saw me go into the story that was at the top of that previous account. And an Instagram story, essentially one of the reasons why they're so popular is because they have a 24-hour lifespan. So if we post the first post to our story today at 10 to 11, then at 10 to 11 tomorrow morning, that story will end and essentially it will disappear from view. You have the opportunity to archive those stories. Those were the circles that were at the top of people's accounts. However, I would only archive stories where I've had significant engagement with those stories. So I'm essentially using engagement as the metric to say that was a really good story or that wasn't a really good story. Having said that, I have seen people who will go out of their way to craft particular stories so that if somebody goes to their profile, they will see a very well put together story. You can see from these ones, so this is the, I think this is the Lincoln Castle one, and not that I can squint enough to see, but there are a lot of posts on this particular story. So each of those lines at the top of the screen is an individual post that is included in this particular story. Those individual posts usually last for about 6 to 7 seconds. So that's when we were just staring at space, waiting for it to move on. In this instance, there's quite a few what we call story stickers that they're using. And this is what makes stories so different to standard Instagram posts. So on the left-hand side, we've got essentially some writing. So we've got the text sticker where it says the night that saved England. Then we've got the little lines that are firing upwards and downwards. So that's just essentially the drawing. I'd call it a sticker, but it's essentially just drawing on there as well. Then we've got the arrow sticker that's pointing to the circle and pointing to the thing that you want to see. It could be that the arrow is animated. I don't know because it's not on. It's not kind of, I can't see that one. But it could be that arrow was flashing, in which case that would be an animated GIF at that point. If we go to the middle one, we've got a hashtag sticker. So we've got hashtag Investigate Tuesday. We've got baking time at the top, which might be a sticker. I don't know. It might just be part of their post. Then we've got want to have a go at baking these. So that's just, again, a text sticker with a different background. And then finally, we go to the last one on the right-hand side. The dragon, I think, it's not animated. I think it's just a sticker for a dragon. Not sure about the cookie, can't remember. And essentially, this is just them walking you through whatever this. I think it just turns out to be a recipe. So the idea is they're trying to drive traffic to go through and download probably a recipe, probably get an email as a result of that download, so that they can then try and attract people to take out a subscription to go and see Lincoln Castle for a 12-month period or something like that. What was I going to say about that then? They've put their URL in the story. That is not a clickable URL. So despite them putting that in, there's an argument to say, I mean, it's not the greatest one because it's in a story format. You've kind of got the G getting cut off and being put at the bottom. So there's no way for me to click and go through to their website. I'd have to physically either copy that or type it out. So whether people do that, I don't know. So when I talk about stickers, these are essentially the stickers that go through onto each individual story. So you can only post stories from your mobile device. This is where kind of all of the good stuff lives. So on the left-hand side, we've got things like the temperature outside. So when we upload, Instagram will use your location and will say it's 11 degrees outside. So you could add that. Some people add that to outdoor photos and outdoor posts. Then you've got loads of just stickers. So these aren't necessarily animated. They're just stickers. I can use the search function at the top to kind of find something that I want to use as a sticker and then put that on as part of my post. In the middle are the kind of the main stickers. So we've got the location tag. If we click on that one, it adds that location look to our post, and then it will give us loads of options about what we want to add as a location. That could be a generic location like Cumbria, but it could also be a specific location. So there'll be lots of choices. The minute you click on location, Instagram will say, here are all of the locations nearby, which one do you want to choose? The @ mention, so the one that you can just about read in the middle, is where you tag other Instagram accounts. So this is how sometimes shout outs will happen. The hashtag sticker means that there's then a hashtag that shows up on your story. Talk about hashtags in a second. Donation sticker, I've never used it, but I'm assuming that will go through to some kind of donation page. No idea really. The next one along, or the one in the middle where it says GI, is actually the search function for animated GIFs. The animated GIFs are on that side, I don't know which way you're looking, but that's the ones where you've got the brain with the idea kind of on top of its head, and the other bits. Music allows you to add music to your images. The reason you might use music is sometimes looking at the image can be dull. You can then use music to essentially help with the storytelling. You have the rights to do that because the rights are the agreement between Instagram and the musicians. And often it will put like the band's, the music band's cover on as a sticker as well as playing the music. Time stickers, obvious. The poll sticker allows you to ask a question, get people to interact. The question sticker allows you to ask a question and allows people to give you answers. People often use the question sticker to get answers and then use the answers and tag them on at the end of their story. We've got the countdown sticker, which is obvious, the sliding emoji, which allows people to give you feedback. There's the quiz sticker that allows you to ask questions and get people participating in a quiz. So there's lots we can do. What we've got to figure out is what do we want people to do, and the reason these are popular is because of these stickers. It's because people can interact with the posts, and therefore that's kind of why they'll work their way through Instagram stories before they go through to individual posts. Okay, so so in terms of hashtags, we saw, in fact, let me go back So I won't be coming back onto the presentation. I want to go to this one because one thing that they did do well. So what we've got on this particular one is we've got all of these hashtags. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23. So they've gone for the 30. So you can put a maximum of 30 hashtags on any one post. The hashtags can go in the caption, which is what we're looking at here. The hashtags, I've seen sometimes people will kind of put dot, 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 and then put the hashtags at the bottom. The reason for doing that is that when you then open up a picture, you're interested in the story behind the picture. So don't miss the opportunity to put a lot of content in your caption. Because one of the things that we think Instagram looks at when people open images on their phones is whether people hang around. So if you've just posted an image and you've done like one line or nothing to go with that image, then apart from seeing the image, there is literally nothing else for me to do. If you put a long form content in the caption, I've got to read through that entire caption. And that means that my dwell time on that particular image is increased as a direct result. In terms of the hashtags, I think we maybe, I can't remember if we did. Hashtags, as I mentioned, can go there. It can look a bit spammy when you open up an account and suddenly there's loads of hashtags. So that's more down to personal preference. What they could have done to kind of hide the hashtags a little bit, they could have posted, then they could have replied to themselves and actually copied, and or not copied, but they could have posted all of their hashtags in their first comment. They work in the same way. So if you've got hashtags in a post or had hashtags in a comment on a post, they will work so in a way that if I had done a search for hashtag, you can see that my mouse has changed. So these are all clickable. And what that means when we say clickable, it means that if I click on it, it will go and do a search for that particular hashtag. And so I will now see lots of kitchen renovation. And so their post will be somewhere in all of these results at that point. So very briefly with hashtags, and I can't remember if I said this last week, and obviously we've got some new people on as well. So I would have location-based hashtags. I would have industry-based hashtags. I would have topic-based hashtags. I would have kind of feeling-based hashtags. And then what else would I have? Location, industry. And then I might even have just some kind of random ones that are more relevant to me as a business. So the easiest way to use hashtags. So if you don't use the maximum you're allowed to use, you're essentially reducing the opportunity for your Instagram post to reach people. So if I use one hashtag, the only people that will get to see that post are my followers, and only a percentage of those because of the algorithm, and people that may have clicked on the hashtag that I've used. If I use 30, then I've now given my post 30 opportunities to be seen under one of these hashtags. So you absolutely categorically should use the maximum number of hashtags that you can. The easiest way to do this on mobile devices, on Android, you've got Google Notes. So have your hashtags saved in Google Notes. Have a few variations so that you're not using identical hashtags in every post. And then all you have to do is copy and paste, put your thumb down, copy, and then paste it into your post at that point. Apple have a similar kind of notes app that you can do that on as well. And that's so much easier than typing these out yourself each individual time, because it'll take you too long to do. Right, that's me. I think 3 minutes past 11. Anybody got any questions they want to ask whilst I'm here? No? Okay. I don't think there's anything. I'll just check the oh no, I can check the chat. Can't just see where it is.
No, there's nothing in the chat, Liam.
Okay, no problems.
Thank you very much, everybody. Just while we're running through the questions, I'll just launch our usual poll, which enables us to get an idea whether we're hitting the right subjects. So welcome your feedback on that just very quickly. Looking at next week's webinar on Tuesday at 10 o'clock, we're looking at LinkedIn. And I think it's Liam again, isn't it, Liam?
It is, yeah.
So we're back again next Tuesday. On the other side of it, for those that are based in Cumbria and haven't joined our programme, please do get in contact with me direct via the Digital Tech Cumbria website, and we can look to support any businesses. They have to fit into the small and medium category. That's our only stipulation. But please do get in touch and we can expand on the offer, which is one-to-one support and the masterclasses alongside the webinars. And broadband support, if you're struggling with your broadband, we can help you to look at that too. So nothing popped up into anybody's head that they want to ask a question while I've just done that little intro there. Waving in hands. Elaine,
Yeah.
did you have one?
I just thought you didn't mention anything about reels, did you? Or did I miss
No, I
that?
didn't. No.
Okay.
So the kind of the sort of the newer features, things like Reels, is Instagram's version of TikTok. So essentially, it's short form video. So if you're familiar with TikTok, Instagram have pretty much copied what TikTok are doing. They've introduced Reels. At the moment, some people are using them, some people aren't using them. They certainly haven't. So when Instagram brought in stories, they essentially stole the idea from Snapchat, because Snapchat were the first kind of platform to do stories, and that hurt Snapchat. So many people using Snapchat, one for the privacy side, but two, they really liked the Snapchat stories. The minute Instagram brought that out, then some of their users, some of the youth of today, were going, why do I want to use stories on Snapchat and stories on Instagram? And they were more, they liked Instagram more for the content side of things, and they liked Snapchat more for the private messaging conversation type of things. So a lot more, I think Snapchat was wounded by Instagram stories. At the moment with Instagram Reels, it doesn't seem to have made a difference to TikTok. So I still think most of the people that use that kind of facility are using TikTok, because that's kind of where the majority of that content lives. Whether that changes on Instagram over time, we'll see. But it hasn't made the impact I think Instagram were hoping it would make at the moment.
Okay, thank you.